depression is an attempt to control people in your environment. I made a short statement in one of the chats, and I see it's running around on Facebook. It's necessary to clarify because some haven't grasped the context of all the words. Have a look, regardless of how you look at depression. There is a conversation happening within, whether it is a feeling, it's a point of view, it is visual or actual self-talk, or physical movement in crouching or internalizing, whatever it is. There is a form of self-judgment taking place during the process of depression, and all of it at all times is an attempt to gain attention. That means the attempt to gain attention is the attempt to control outcomes. And it is normally to do with one's view that something else or someone else or some situation is actually responsible to make you happy. So there is no self-mastery whatsoever. And the excuse is given that it's happening to others as well. And the excuse is given that apparently you haven't got the discipline to do anything. It's not about discipline. It's about self-mastery. Discipline is a process where you follow somebody because you can't stand on your own 2 feet. Self-mastery is where you walk with somebody and you stand on your 2 feet. So discipline is necessary where you have not even considered self-mastery yet. You're only considering that you are self-sabotaging yourself and you are destructive and you are therefore in a depression. You are therefore, according to your own measurement, not effective or an equal in this world to anything. You are less than. You've created that analogy, that judgment yourself. And that judgment in itself is the cause of the depression. It is sometimes the result of a chemical dysfunction, which is based in virtually all cases on a lack of effective nutrition. So you will have a physical heaviness, and then you will confuse that with depression. Then you'll have an idea about it, you'll think about it, and you will create the mental disorder as well to go with the physical disorder. I mean, that is really actually only a lack of self-mastery. And where you have some support and you don't listen to the support, then it's a lack of self-discipline, because you are not following somebody that is showing you a way. You are trying to do it your own way when you are not one and equal to anything yet. And therefore you will fall regardless, and you will actually create a following of fallen ones and also destroy other people's opportunities, because you'll talk about all your bullshit of no discipline and no mastery instead of learning the most basic thing. If you are falling, it's nothing to be proud about. Remain silent and change yourself. And in your change and the movement of the effectiveness of yourself, there, it's worth sharing. Then you can talk about how you used to fall and explain that, but you are already standing. If you talk about how you're falling and you have not stand, and you are not clear in your self-mastery, you're not equal and one within the group of what's best for all, then you are actually deceiving others. Because, which is obviously yourself as well, because you're deceiving yourself and justify yourself that you're apparently busy with the process. No, you are screwing yourself. It's like a form of open public rape that's taking place by talking the crap you're talking. Because you're taking your tongue and you stuck it in your own ear, and you're wiping your whole brain, your physical clear of any potential of getting anywhere, and you'll find you will continuously do the same stuff. You will not master anything of yourself, and you will continuously go through the same cycles. And there are those of you that know when I'm speaking to you now, because you've been doing this for years upon years, and every time it happens you feel so good that you find somebody that's equal to you in their fuckness and that cannot master themselves, and in that you suddenly have a mastery to share your self-honest truth. You are not being self-honest now when you're sharing it. You are self-sabotaging. You are a terror. You are terrorizing yourself and others by allowing your fear, by allowing your disdain, by allowing your dishonor to be out there for the world and to be okay with it and not to feel any shame. You have separated yourself from the consequences. Therefore, the consequences will become more traumatic, more physical. It will have consequences that you could have stopped, that you now will have to face, that will be beyond the possibility of any change. Do you really want to go there? Do you really want to experience that traumatic events? This is where it then must go. Because when you had the opportunity of self-change, when you had the opportunity of self-mastery, and the principle that you are God within your own reality, so be still and know that you're God. That means remain silent until you've changed yourself, and then walk as the change, and then explain what you've gone through to help others. You have taken the destructive self-sabotage part and you've made that okay. And by making it okay, you have got others to agree with you in your fuckness. Imagine, we're now all fucked together. And then you'll actually take it further and fuck up your life. And fuck up others as well, and you'll all fuck together. Which means there will be a sexual consequence. There will be a consequence that is measured in children. There is a consequence measured in other people. Don't be a dick. Consider the consequences of your so-called depression. Your depression is that you have not been able to manipulate those around you, to invest in your life and make you happy. You have not managed to conquer slaves. You will now master deception more until you can conquer as many slaves as possible, and then you'll use these slaves to make you happy. You see them in the corporates of this world as the chief executive officers. If you go back in their life, you'll see how they have managed through the depressions, found the way to convert people around them into slavery, to make them happy. Whether it is through products, through direct involvement, through relationships, it doesn't matter. The same process happens. Moving from a point of depression to a point of success, and then sell the story. But you're not making any change, you're only creating slaves. Make sure you don't create slaves just so that you can be happy. Make sure, breath by breath, every movement, every application, everything you participate in ends up what is in a way that is best for all, and it's a measurement, a certainty of your equality in self-mastery as life here. Self-willed. The test or the movement is so small, it's a breath by breath. All you have to do is conquer one breath at a time. One breath you conquer it, you stand. Next breath you conquer it, you stand. Next breath you conquer it, you stand. And you'll find you'll get through anything. And you don't have to fall. It is really easy. In small little bits. And it brings about the ultimate change. You as self-mastered. Breath by breath. So stop the so-called depression stories. Stop the repressions. Stop the excuses. Stop the seeking of slaves to make you happy. Slavery is not an acceptable way of mastery. Self-mastery is one and equal to life here. It does not require followers. If you must follow, then there should be self-discipline. Those with self-discipline that follows will do so with the necessary humbleness. Those that cannot stand in humbleness and then pretend to follow will only try and find reasons to be separate and will never master themselves because they are trying to be godly and divine. That has got nothing to do with self-mastery. Self-mastery is you being able to live one breath at a time, effectively in a way that is best for all, and that will ultimately lead to the accumulative effect of you as life here triumphant. As all, as one, as equal. That means as an example for everyone else, assisting everyone else, and bringing about a permanent change in the system that is best for all. Grasp this. There is nothing psychological about depression, but that you are a psycho in a logical way if you cause yourself to be depressed. Such conditions do not, in fact, exist without your full authority, your full permission, and your full participation in self-deception. Stop self-deception. Join us at Desteni. At the forums, there is support, or the Desteni I process, if you've got the guts to actually change yourself. We don't expect many to be able to transcend the energetic addictions. You're just an addict. You're an addict and you can't get away. Don't worry. You will get the necessary trauma from life to eventually realize, or to be eventually eradicated as an abuser. There is no threat or pain or sorrow in that. It is simply what it is. It's happening all around you all the time. Do you feel anything about the animals that daily die so that you can have your pursuit of happiness? The plants that daily suffer and die so that you can have your pursuit of happiness? The people that daily die so that you can have your pursuit of happiness? Do you ever even give them a single breath? Never mind a single thought, because a thought is always more than one breath. If you notice, you can't have a thought in a single breath. A thought is always many breaths. That's a problem. That's really slow, isn't it? While real living happens breath by breath, where it is quantum living. Join us. We'll support you in understanding quantum living at Desteni. Whatsoever. And the excuse is given that it's happening to others as well, and the excuse is given that apparently you haven't got the discipline to do anything. It's not about discipline. It's about self-mastery. Discipline is a process where you follow somebody because you can't stand on your own 2 feet. Self-mastery is where you Depression is an attempt to control people in your environment. I made a short statement in one of the chats, and I see it's running around on Facebook. It's necessary to clarify because some haven't grasped the context of all the words. Have a look, regardless of how you look at depression. At all times, it's an attempt to gain attention. That means the attempt to gain attention is the attempt to control outcomes. And it is normally to do with one's view that something else or someone else or some situation is actually responsible to make you happy. So there is no self-mastery. There is a conversation happening within, whether it is a feeling, it's a point of view, it is visual or actual self-talk, or physical movement in crouching or internalizing, whatever it is. There is a form of self-judgment taking place during the process of depression, and all of it